Hello, everyone. My name is Essence Wilson. I'm the co founder and chief strategy officer here at Communities First. We are excited to bring you this conversation today about small business credit and how it gets developed, what it is, and what it means for your business. Communities First is a nonprofit. We started in 2010 to do a variety of work in the community. We specialize in affordable housing, economic opportunity, and engaging communities. And with that, I'm going to ask Ashley Strozier to introduce herself as my co moderator today.
Hello, everyone. I'm excited to join in this community candor with you all today. I am Ashley Strozier. I serve as the Family Mobility Coordinator here at Communities First. And that simply means I get to connect with anyone that is in need of help to help you go from struggle to success. But with today's important conversation, we had to bring on some experts. So I'm going to allow our guests to go ahead and take this moment and introduce themselves and what they will be bringing to the conversation. We'll start with Mr. Moore.
Good morning. My name is Delano Moore. I am a branch banker here at PNC Bank in Flushing, Michigan. Through financial wellness conversations, I help my clients with things like cash management, debt management, large purchase planning, and any other sophisticated financial goals that they may have that I can connect them with one of my partners on. And today I'll actually be leading the conversation on how business credit is obtained.
All right, Terrence, you are up.
Yep. Hey, good morning. Good afternoon now. My name is Terrence Green. I'm the Small Business Coordinator for the Flint Genesee Economic Alliance. I know that's a mouthful as it is. So I help any small business, doesn't matter what is idea phase and up. I have a team also including Tracy Joseph. Overall, I like to say I'm like your business therapist. Anything you need, I can figure out and help you get to obtain your goals. I'm a business owner as well, and you'll hear more about resources later on.
And last and certainly not least, we would like to introduce Miss Brandy. Welcome to our community candor, Brandy. Go ahead and tell us about yourselves.
Thank you so much, Ashley. I'm Brandy Cook Brown, Executive Director for 100K Ideas. We help individuals that not sure how to get started to start their business, take that first step. So we work specifically with idea stage. Sometimes maybe you're a little bit more advanced and we just need to know how to navigate forward. We're happy to help. And we are partners with multiple entities because we know we're going to eventually get you to a point where you're going to need support of other organizations. So we work really hard to have a strong network to encourage and support our aspiring innovators as they navigate that journey forward.
All right, great. So we're going to start out today with ensuring that we all know a little bit about something that is a major component of being successful in business, about how businesses obtain credit. So Delano has a presentation that he's going to share with us, and we're going to go right into that before we hear from the other partners about the work that they're doing on a day-to-day basis.
Okay. All right, so I am going to bring up this slideshow here. Okay, perfect. So today we're going to be talking about how businesses can obtain credit. To start out, just want to make it very aware to everyone. Of course, as we know, for personal purposes, credit is important, but it's just as important for small businesses or businesses that are starting out. A little fun fact based on the Federal Reserve Bank survey that they conducted in 2018 and 2019, 43% of small businesses apply for financing, and more than half of them did get the credit they wanted. The reason why a lot of businesses don't apply for credit is because either they're discouraged, they think they won't qualify, or they're concerned with taking on more debt. Now, in some cases, if you are having difficulties getting credit or you don't know where to start, this is going to be a good foundation for you guys to understand how you can build and establish credit for your business, okay? Now, what we're going to be talking about next is some of our workshop goals. Now, today, we're going to be exploring how businesses get approved for credit, how you can improve your odds to be approved. And we're going to be talking about the four main topics, which is going to be credit worthiness, how to apply, how to build credit, and the links between personal and business credit. So in some cases, personal credit is going to be required before you can then establish business credit, and we'll talk more about that later. Now, what I'm going to do is just put up a quick poll. And to start, we're going to ask this question here. Similar to your personal credit score, your business credit score helps determine how well your business can be trusted to handle money. Now, which of the following may be affected by your business credit score? Now, we have 5 different options. We have the ability to qualify for a business loan, insurance premiums, term of a line of credit, establishing partnerships, and attracting investors. And if we go to the next slide, we'll get our answer. As you can see, personal and business credit affects all of your chances to be able to do any of these things, whether it be qualifying for a business loan, insurance premiums, terms of a line of credit, establishing a partnership, or attracting investors. And we'll talk more about the investors part as well, as far as what they're looking for. In some ways, it can be similar when it comes to applying for credit on a personal level and business. There's some correlations between the two, but as it pertains to working with lenders and investors, they're going to be looking for a few other things to then qualify for business credit. Okay. All right. So now what we want to know is, what is credit worthiness, and what do lenders want to know? So lenders want to know if you're paying your bills on time. Do you stay within your budget? Is your income steady and enough to repay the loan? So are you generating enough revenue? And for that matter, having profits to pay? Is your business already running and making money, which goes back to that revenue question? And have you demonstrated the stability in work and in business? So in your personal life, do you have things in order? And as it pertains to your business, do you have things in order? Now, what we're going to be talking about next, and I'm not sure if you guys have the participant guides in an email. I believe they should have been passed out. If you go to page 3 and 4, there is going to be a section called the 5 C's of credit. Now, when you apply for a loan, lenders have to evaluate your financial situation to determine whether it's a good decision to lend to you and your business any kind of money. Now, these are going to be the 5 C's, which is capacity, capital, collateral, character, and conditions. Now, the first C, which is capacity, shows your ability to repay debts from current and future income. And these are going to be some of the questions that you should ask yourself. Are your personal income and business revenue sufficient to pay your bills, existing debts, or new debts? Does your business show a history of profitability? And lastly, what indicator shows that profits will continue to come in the future? Now, the next one is going to be capital, which is important to lenders because it indicates how committed you are to your business, or for that matter, how much skin do you have in the game? How much money did you put up yourself? If you did put up your own money, more than likely, you're going to see that your business is going to stay in a good condition to grow, for that matter, operate at minimum. So again, more questions that you should be asking. How much of your money have you invested in your business? These are some things that you should ask yourself, but also lenders will be asking. The next one is, are your assets higher than your liabilities? So do you have more than you're taking out as far as debt? Next is collateral. Creditors want to recoup or get back the money that they lent to you. Now, as we talked about assets and liabilities, in some cases, lenders may require for you to put up some kind of collateral. And do you have any assets that can secure a loan? Or for that matter, secure any kind of credit, which in a way could be used as reduction of risk for a lender. More questions to ask. Do you have any assets such as vehicles, real estate, equipment that could function as collateral? Will credit be used to purchase assets that could then be used later as collateral? And what is the value of those assets? Next one is character, which measures your stability and commitment to your financial obligations. And you want to ask yourself these questions here. Do you have a good history of paying off your financial obligations in full and on time? Do you have a good track record of holding on to a job or managing a profitable business? And lastly, have you ever declared bankruptcy? And then we have the last C, which is going to be conditions. Now, that's going to describe how the economy or other factors are going to affect your ability to repay your debts. More questions to be asking as pertains to this here. What opportunities and risks does your company face from changes in the industry or the economy? What are trends in your industry? Are there similar companies expanding or contracting? So are there any areas of opportunity for growth? And for that matter, is there a decline in the industry? What competitive edge do you have against the other businesses that's going to be in your industry? And which is going to be a very important question as it pertains to business credit. How will the loan or any kind of credit that you plan on using improve your profitability, efficiency, and stability? Now that we know more about these credit lending criteria, creditors do use credit worthiness to evaluate if they plan to lend to you. So let's see how the 5 C's applies in different scenarios. Now we have another poll here. Which of the 5 C's is this? You own a small embroidery and custom printing business and have some expensive equipment. A portion of the loan will be used to purchase a new machine to embroider leather. Your equipment will be considered what now? We have 5 different options again: capacity, capital, collateral, character, and conditions. Now, if we go to the next slide, we'll get our answer, and I can explain more on this here. In this case, equipment would represent collateral. Since the embroidery and printing equipment has resale value, if you default on a loan, the lender or creditor could get back their money by selling it. Collateral like equipment, real estate, or other assets you own protects their investment in your business. It acts as a guarantee and it reduces their risk. Now let's look at another 5C. Have another poll here. You run a bait shop near a popular fishing area. Your main competition in the area recently retired and their store closed. This will represent which C? Now, if we go to the next slide here, the answer would be E. So in this case, the equipment would represent conditions. Conditions relate to different things such as the state of the industry, demand for your product or service, your competition. In this case, the bait shop closed, the owner retired, which means that there is an opportunity for you to capture some of the competitors' customers. Now, if it was a different situation where there was a decline in business, then lenders will look at that a little bit differently. There may not be any areas of opportunity for growth. And that's what lenders are going to be looking for. They're looking for profits. They're looking for if you can repay those loans back. And most importantly, is there room for growth later on down the line? Now, we're going to look at more scenarios to help understand the 5 C's of credit worthiness. We have another poll here coming up. Now, for 3 years, you've had a food truck that served local businesses. When you started, you purchased the truck with the savings, but bought the equipment with a credit card. You still carry a balance, but have paid on time for 3 years. Now, what does this demonstrate? Does it demonstrate capacity, capital, collateral, character, conditions, maybe a couple? On the next slide, we'll get our answer. So what this will demonstrate here is capacity, capital, and character. And how is that? Your cash investment in the food truck and consistent on-time payments on your credit card will represent capital, capacity, and collateral in different ways. First being collateral, it could be correct, but we'll look at capital, capacity, and character. Now, as it pertains to investing in your own food truck, you invested your own money. So that's your capital. Lenders see that as favorable because you are motivated to succeed and protect your cash investment. And it also represents collateral because you bought something that had value that they could then lend to you in a secure way. Now, by paying your debts on time for 3 years, creditors see a strong history of repaying debts that you've previously taken out, which could demonstrate character. And on the negative side, the fact that you still carry a balance that can reduce your capacity or the ability to repay a new loan. Now that we know more about the 5 C's used to evaluate credit worthiness, let's examine other conditions that may affect your credit worthiness. Now, other considerations by lenders, you have background and general questions, management employee questions, business operations questions, financial questions, and personal questions. Now, for business operations, these are some questions that you we want to be on the lookout for, and these are some questions that they may ask. What are all the products and services that your business provide? Are all of these lines of businesses profitable? Which ones are profitable and why? Who are your clients? And how many do you have? The next one for financial questions. Do you have 2 or 3 years of financial statements plus interim current year statements? Do you have 2 to 3 years of business and personal tax returns? And lastly, is your business profitable? And how long has it been profitable? Now, for personal questions, this will pertain to your personal credit. This may include things such as bankruptcy, and these are some of the questions that you may be looking out for when you're having these conversations with lenders and investors. What is your or your family's financial budget look like? What sources of income are available to cover your expenses? How is your personal credit? Are there any discrepancies that need to be explained, such as divorce or any medical bills that may be outstanding? And for a more comprehensive list, if you review pages 5 and 6 in the participant guide, there is going to be a series of questions under the title Other Considerations by Lenders. Now, a lender will ask many questions to learn about your business, which makes the process for applying for a loan a great opportunity to understand more about your business. But we'll look at the relationship between your personal and business credit next. Now, to build good credit, you want to start by using credit wisely. Now, to do so, you want to make sure that you are paying all your bills on time. You want to keep a low balance on your credit cards. You don't want to take on too much debt. Stay at the same job and address for a long period of time, which shows stability. Read and understand your credit report, which you can actually access that on myannualcreditreport.com and also FICO.com. Is it MyFICO? I believe MyFICO.com. And you want to make sure you understand what's on there. If something that isn't going to be that shouldn't be on there is on your credit report, there are ways that you can go about disputing that with those credit bureaus. So keep that in mind. Now, how are they similar? How is business and personal credit similar? Both businesses and personal credit scores are used to decide if a business or a person qualifies for a loan. Are you likely to repay that loan? Do you have a history of making good, sound financial decisions? Now, what are going to be different? The differences are going to be the agencies that are tracking them and the score ranges. The scores are going to be similar. There are going to be different ways that you can actually track that, okay? Now we have another poll here. Which of the following strategies can you use to build your personal credit? We have 5 different options. Keep your credit card balances low, ignore your credit report, obtain credit cards, only use cash for everything, pay your bills on time. And if we go to the next slide, we will get our answers. The correct answers are going to be A, C, and E. Now, we talked about this earlier in our presentation. If you are utilizing credit, you want to make sure that you're keeping your balance low, especially with your credit cards. Credit utilization is very important. You want to make sure that you obtain some kind of credit. Revolving credit is going to be, for personal, it's going to be the easiest way to build credit, especially through like a secure credit card. If you haven't established any kind of credit and you're not receiving any kind of rewards for daily spending. And one of the most important pieces over the long stretch of your credit history is paying your bills on time. You want to make sure that you are paying those bills. You don't want to have any derogatory marks, any delinquencies, any outstanding balances that's eating away at your ability to repay loans or debt later on down the line, but also to apply for more credit, which you may need later on down the line. Now let's look at the top reasons scores go down and how to improve them. Now, scores go down for various factors. A common one is late payments, collections, which if you have not made a payment on something after a while, that debt that you were carrying could go into collections. Bankruptcy, which is another way that your scores can go down. high debt compared to your income. So if you have too many debts compared to your monthly income, that can impact your credit score. Too many credit inquiries within the past year. So going to different lenders and looking to apply to too many different credits. So whether it be lines of credit, any kind of loans or anything like that, if you're doing it too much, that can affect your credit score. Charge-offs or severe delinquencies. So if you owe money somewhere and it's charged off, or if it falls into a delinquent status, that can affect your credit score. And using most of your available credit or maxing out your credit cards, which using credit cards, you definitely want to make sure that you are. It's a matter of using them smart and effectively. You don't want to over leverage yourself by using too much of your credit because that can affect your credit score. Now, on the flip side, how can you improve your credit score? You want to pay all your bills on time. You want to keep a low balance on your credit cards. You don't want to take on too much debt, which that can affect your debt to income ratio. You want to stay at the same job and address for a long period of time, which again goes back to that stability portion. Lenders and investors want to know that you're reliable. That's really the main thing. They really want to understand that you're a reliable person that's going to be able to repay those debts. And read and understand your credit report again. We want to emphasize that one more time. Make sure you understand exactly what's on your credit report. And if you believe that some things are incorrect, you want to make written inquiries on those items that you believe should not be there on your credit report. Now, in the participant guide, if you go to page 8, there is going to be a section called your credit score and report. And what we want to know is what is in a business credit report. Now, for a business credit report, it's going to be a little bit different. It's going to be the business and organization information in the SEC filings, credit history regarding business assets, additional business ownership, commercial credit score, and potential risk for failure. Now we have another poll here. Which of the following ways might a lender use a business credit score? Now we have 5 different answers again. Decide if a business is creditworthy. B, establish a history of financial responsibility. C, determine the size of a loan they can give the business. D, approve or reject loans. Or E, assess their risk in lending money to the business. We go to the next slide, we'll get our answers, which all 5 of them is something that is going to be considered by a lender. Now, if we go to the next slide here, you are going to see exactly where you can locate your business and personal credit scores. Now, for personal credit scores, they range between 300 to 850. You can access your score at a fee on www.myfico.com. Another place that you can go to, which isn't on this presentation, is myannualcreditreport.com. I believe it's annualcreditreport.com. And you can request your credit report from all 3 consumer reporting agencies free 1 time a year. It'll have everything that's on your credit report, anytime that you've made on-time payments, anytime that you've made late payments, any delinquencies that you may have had. I believe that that's a valuable tool that if you're looking to build your credit or understand what your real credit score is. I know sometimes people like to use Credit Karma. Credit Karma is like a rough estimate. You would definitely want to use MyFICO or annualcreditreport.com. Now, for business credit scores, there's a few different places that you can go to, and they range from 0 to 100. The first one is going to be done in Bradstreet, which is businesscredit.dnb.com. Equifax Business at equifax.com /business credit reports small business. And we also have Experian Business at sbcr.experian.com. Another business credit score is the FICO Small Business Scoring Service score, also known as the SBSS, which pulls from your personal and business credit and ranges from 0 to 300. Now, What are some ways to build good business credit? Building good credit, you can pay bills on time and in full. That pertains to business and personal. You definitely want to make sure that you're paying those on time and in full. Having used a business credit card. In some cases, you can use your business credit card as working capital. Um, Another way is to keep credit card balances low. And lastly, ensure your financial statements for the past 3 years records healthy financial behavior. For example, maintaining enough cash on hand to meet your financial obligations. And to maintain good credit, you want to receive a DUNS number, also known as a Data Universal Numbering Systems number. Subscribe to a credit reporting service and ensure information is accurate and up to date. And also borrow from lenders who report to the business credit bureaus. So that could be a part of the questions that you may ask to your lenders. Who are they reporting to for business credit? And also establish trade lines with vendors and encourage them to report your good credit behavior back to the credit bureaus. Now, when it comes to subscribing to credit reporting services for businesses, those aren't free. Those are going to be at a fee. All right, we have another poll here. Davies have a small moving business. They specialize in helping companies take down and reinstall their computer systems when they have changed locations. Their business is profitable, but they have not established business credit. The personal credit is okay. They pay on time to carry a large balance on several cards. What would help them qualify for a business loan? If you go to the next slide here, we'll get our answer. And that's going to be paying down their credit card balances. Yep, so you want to make sure you're paying that off. All right, and as we go to the next slide, we have another poll. Cynthia Yang makes custom jewelry with precious stones and metals. Her Instagram and Pinterest account have huge followings and sales are steady. Her personal credit is solid. She has a business credit card but never uses it. She pays her suppliers on time, but they do not report to the credit agencies. In about a year, she would like a loan to expand her business. What steps will make her more credit worthy? If we go to the next slide, we'll get our answer here. Which is going to be to encourage her vendors to report her on-time payments to credit bureaus and use the business credit card and pay off balances monthly. All right, now you guys do have access to this business loan application checklist in the participant guide. These are some things that lenders are going to be looking for, which is going to be credit card applications, personal credit reports, tax returns for personal and business financial statements, personal financial information, collateral information, sales contracts or purchase orders, leases or loan agreements for your business licenses, disclosures if you own the businesses or your business partners have any, and a business plan. That's a plus, but it's not required. I think it'd be a good idea to come in there with a business plan so you can show a solid foundation for what you plan to do to make profits. All right, so also we have SBA financing, which is what we're going to be talking about, and what are its characteristics. It is a loan from a bank, and an SBA guarantees a portion of the loan. It helps borrowers qualify for a good interest rate and financial plans. It enables borrowers to obtain loans up to $5 million, and it includes mentorships from SBA. Now, these are going to be some of the loan products offered by the SBA. They have the basic 7A loan program. The max loan amount is going to be $5 million. Fully amortizing government guaranteed loan. Loans are offered for working capital, expansion, and equipment. In some cases, 10% only may be required by the borrower, and 90% of it be a bank loan. You also have a 504 loan program, which the max amount for that loan is $5 million. Loans are offered for owner-occupied real estate acquisitions, construction, and heavy equipment purchases. 10% down payment by the borrower, 40% CDC, and 50% bank loan. Lastly, we have an SBA Expression Veteran Program, which the max loan amount is $350 and some fees waived. That could be used for business operations for at least a year. Lines of credit or fully amortized loans. So it's a few different options for that. And a partial government guarantee with that, expedited application process, and a quick turnaround. Loans are offered for working capital, equipment, business acquisitions, and real estate purchases or facility expansions. The down payment can be as low as 10%. Now we have alternate sources of funding, which is going to be through community development financial institutions. So those are going to be nonprofit funding organizations. They provide business mentoring, financing, and technical assistance at the community level for borrowers who may not qualify for traditional loans. Many lenders have special programs for businesses owned by Native Americans, women, and other minority groups. All right, and to summarize, today we talked about a few different things, which is creditworthiness and how it's measured by the 5 C's. If you're running a new or small business, your business doesn't have much credit history, lenders rely on your personal credit report and score. That's going to be important as pertains to new or smaller businesses, and also how you can apply for small business credit, what you'll need to provide a variety of legal and financial documents. So keep in mind, if you do have access to that participant guide, that checklist is readily available to you guys. And I hope this information has been helpful.
All right. Thank you for sharing that, Delano. A lot of information. Okay. And so don't be put off by that at all. Some people digest information really, really quickly, and some people need a little bit more time to sit with it. So this recording will be available for you to view. So definitely at your leisure, you can go through that again. But in addition to that, if you complete our survey, and it's in the chat for you, complete the survey. And then we will also enter you into a drawing for a prize. We will send you that user guide. We just need an email address to send it to. If you don't have an email address, that's okay too. We'll mail it to you. We want you to have the information that you need in order to be successful in business. And business credit is something that may not come up in the early days, but once you want to grow and scale your business, most businesses reach a point where they can't go any further because they need additional funds and resources, and that business credit will help you to do that. Just want to ask if there's anything from our other panelists that you want to chime in about when it comes to this piece about business credit before we allow you to share about your organizations and the resources available for small businesses.
I'll jump in really quick. Well, one, I just want to say, Delano, I was guessing myself on those polls. I was just like, oh, I do know them. I think you got me on one of them. But at 100K Ideas, a lot of what Delano was talking about in terms of, conditions regarding your business, are there other people working in the same space and how that impacts your work? And obviously, I'll go into this a little bit later, but that's a lot of what we talk about initially when we work with clients. We never think it's too early to start thinking through those things and preparing you through that space. So just to piggyback on the fact that there are resources to help you thinking about that prior to getting to a point where you're ready to ask for capital. So ideally, when you get to that point, you already know. So I just wanted to highlight that there are some supports in that space.
Terrence, anything to add specific to business credit?
Yeah, so for sure, we connect, just like Brandy, we connect with a lot of resources as well. We're one that me and Brandy go back and forth, also connecting just to help businesses in the area. And speaking on the business credit, that's something that's for sure important also in your business plan. And that's things that we give out, templates, things of that nature. So they go over that, because when you go to those banks, they need all that ready to go so they can see those finances in that history. So that's why another reason why your business plan is so important. A lot of people downplay it, but it's very important.
Well, there are a ton of resources that are available in the community. And one of the things that we find is it's not the availability of resources, it's people knowing what those resources are. So we have 2 local agencies that are with us that can provide more insight about the services that they provide. Ashley, I know that Brandy over at 100K Ideas. Is there anything you would like to just to prime the crowd about her and the resources available there?
Well, I'm excited about both of these organizations joining our call today because I feel like today's community candor is useful information for anyone, whether you are getting ready to start a business, you currently have a business and you're looking to be a little bit more successful, you previously had a business and it didn't go that well, and you're looking to try at it again. There are so many resources available on top of all of this amazing information that Delano just presented to us. So if you are just now tuning in, please make sure you put your contact information, register for this community candor so that you can have access to all of the resources available. But now we are getting ready to learn more about 100K ideas. I know you've heard about it, you've seen articles and different pieces of it covered on the news, but you get to hear about it firsthand from Brandy today. So Brandy, tell us about 100K.
Thank you, Ashley. So we were started in 2017 as a nonprofit designed to support innovators with ideas. The gap that we were seeing in the ecosystem locally and arguably statewide is there was a lot of support for you once you got going, right? Like once you had your path, you knew what you were doing, there's resources that can help you with your business plan, there's resources that can help you get capital. But there wasn't really something where you woke up today or maybe had it in your head for 30 years on how do I start? Like, how do I get going? I don't even know my first step. And that's really the space we began to fill and arguably are able to still continue to do so. And so we focus on helping people flesh it out. And as I mentioned, a lot of what Delano talked about in terms of who else is doing the same thing, what are conditions for success of your business, that is the conversation we start having with you immediately. We learn about you as an individual, because also just like that personal credit impacts your business credit, it also impacts how you move forward in your ideas. So it's very much intertwined. It's not separate from you. And we want to make sure we're taking your talents and skill sets that you're going to bring to this business, in addition to things that you do need support with, but we have an understanding, so then we can help navigate you the best way forward. I always joke, if you want to start an app, our next steps for you are different if you can code versus if you can't code, right? That doesn't mean you can't create an app. It's just knowing you have to approach that vision differently. And so that's what we're here to help with. We do one-on-one support from, like I said, the beginning, and our goal is to help you get to market. So once you're in market, you're going to learn lessons. Actually, as you described, sometimes it goes really well, sometimes it doesn't, and it's okay because it's all learning on that journey. And sometimes the first one you start with isn't the one that's going to be that long-term business for you, and that's okay. But you learn some lessons, and now you can go back to the drawing board and say, okay, I need to pivot. What's next for me? And that's a lot of what we try to instill in people very early on, so they're not too discouraged. If anything, they're encouraged by what they're learning along that journey. And a couple of additional things that we offer in addition to those one-on-one services that we provide is we also do monthly workshop programming. Terrence, I believe you're a speaker coming up soon as well. I just saw it and everything. But we try to have topics focused on what are things that clients are telling us they want more information on. And once we get enough people saying, hey, I need to know this, that's when we start doing it. I joke that we never facilitate them ourselves. I think I do ours this month, and this is the only one 100K does, because we really are big on bringing industry experts to our audiences so they can make that connection and expand their own personal networks. In addition, we do a pitch competition. Submissions are closed for this current round in September, but we do one 3 times a year. It's called Pitch for K, so be on the lookout for that. And that is designed for early stage businesses. We recently updated our requirements. So you, instead of having a years in operating qualification, it's actually if you make 250,000 or less in revenue, then you're eligible to participate. So that's a huge plus for us, because we know sometimes you're operating, but you're not quite ready, and you need some capital to go. And so we didn't want to exclude anybody. We wanted to make sure people felt supported throughout that journey in different various stages of that. And we also, we'll plug these last 2 pieces that we help with. So we do have a retail storefront called Shops on Saginaw that we offer specifically for early stage businesses, but also some that are more mature, but maybe don't have their own brick and mortar. The way we're set up, it's commission based. So if you don't sell anything, you don't owe anything. But it is a space where you can sell right downtown, retail front, where you can come in and learn basically actually selling and having products in a space, getting familiar with your customer base, who's engaging. It's great practice for marketing and all of those pieces. And the way we look at it is, we want you to learn from the experience as much as it is obviously selling and growing your business from it. The requirements, if you are interested in joining, is that you do have to be legally registered. That is the one requirement we have for this, as well as your business bank account and an EIN number, because our goal is to encourage you to start getting revenue. So we write those checks back to you for things that you sell to your business. So we want to make sure that that's a way to support that. And then we also have our Startup Hub, which is a resource center specifically designed for businesses that are early stage, but may not be able to invest in certain equipment or resources at that stage of their business. So for instance, we bring in people that help with accounting so that they can look at your books and see, are you on the right track to help prepare those financial statements that you need as you're looking to engage with other financial institutions. So we try to bring resources closer at really no cost. So that way we kind of eliminate that barrier where it's hard to invest in certain resources when you're just trying to get going and just, moving. So we try to eliminate those pieces. And we also have physical equipment like computers, meeting rooms, those types of things available at the disposal as well. So I think I've taken up way too much time, but that's a little about what we do. I think they'll share our information. So you guys can always reach out with questions.
Yes, we have shared your email address, but other ways that individuals can get in contact with you. What's your website? What's your social media? What is the best way for someone to click in and immediately learn more about 1000K ideas?
Yes. So our website, number one, and I'll also put that in the chat to be shared. I just realized I did not. My bad. So it's 100K Ideas, 100KIDEAS.org. That's our website. It has our 3 flagship programs on there. That's how you can sign up for an appointment. If you have a product you want to put in shops, that's a way for you to sign up there. And also, if you're interested in becoming a member of the Startup Hub, that information's right there. And also, there's information on the pitch competition, and everything I listed is on our website. So I'll be sure to share that as well. And then on our social media pages, it's 100K Ideas. So that's it across all of them. So
and then I know we're in good company because you've already mentioned that Terrence is one of your speakers to one of the upcoming events. So Terrence, explain to us why you are so passionate about small businesses being successful, and talk about the resources you came to share with us today. I think you might be muted. We don't want to miss anything you're saying.
Can you hear me now? We're good?
Oh yeah, now we got you.
Okay, good. So at FGEA, Flint Genesee Economic Alliance, I'm a small business coordinator, like I said, but on the other end, I'm also a business owner. So I own a yoga studio in downtown Flint, Black and More Yoga and Life. And I've been having my own business for 4 or 5 years, and it's been very passionate about that, as in it's so much needed. How we have a city of Flint, but in every major city, there's a yoga studio, and then in ours, it wasn't. So from there, I saw the need between the communication between the resources and the actual small businesses. Instead of complaining about it, why not be active and to go join and actually be help out? So that was my main reason of joining here. And ever since I've done it, I've been very, very grateful and happy because of all the resources we have and the things we do in the community, as all of us do. And we're sitting here on this panel today to be resources for the community. So the main thing that I love is that the Flint Genesee Economic Alliance is overall is the Flint Genesee Group, very big. To kind of break it down and think of it, you could think of Flint Genesee Group as GM. Under it, you have the Chamber, the Flint Genesee Economic Alliance. So that's kind of like your Cadillac and GMC and things of that nature. So that's how you can think of the branches that come off of it. The actual Flint Genesee Economic Alliance, we help all business within Genesee County. And the most important thing, all of our services are 100% free. So we'll never take your money, but we might give you some money. So that's what I can say about that. So along within the Flint Genesee Economic Alliance, we have our attraction that actually brings in businesses to the community. The actual Genesee County, we have our retention that keeps relationships like GM and Lear, things of that nature. We also have our Apex. So that actually helps with business contracting. So a lot of people don't have that, but within our house, we actually have a division that can actually help you get ready for business contracting, becoming a women certified business, becoming a veteran-owned business and things of that nature. So we have that in-house, help you with your SAM.gov accounts and everything like that. And then lastly, it's the small business department. That's where I fall in that, and my team with Tracy Joseph and Karina Hammond. So we help out with anything business related from startup. Like I said, we're the only organization, I believe, that can go from all the way from startup all the way to the end and after and above. So that's kind of what we do. We have expanded we have hub locations in Fenton, Swartz Creek, in Burston. Fenton, I'm there actually on Mondays from 9 to 4. And then Swartz Creek, I'm there also from Wednesdays from 9 to 4. Burston is also Mondays 9 to 3. So anybody can stop in during those times to get business help. Our main hub, which is our location downtown at 519 South Saginaw Street within the Mount Foundation building. We have open office hours every Wednesday from 1 to 4, every first Wednesday of the month from 1 to 4. And within that open office hours, you can connect directly with Metro Community Development, DOXA Development, and the Small Business Development Center along with us ourselves. And every now and then we have people stop in for additional resources. Additional to that, we have the E-Team, which is also something that we're connected with Brandy and many more resources in the area, Community First, that helps entrepreneurs, startups, all in Genesee County with any resources they may need, from patents to funding and much more. Now, some of those resources that we are looking for that we always love to hear about is capital and funding. That's the number one. We know we always hear that. We need that funding. So where is it? I'm glad for Delano to give that piece on the starter points to get there. And some of those grants, so like alone, the FGEA has the Moving Flint Forward grant. Some people have heard about it. Every year we give it out with a partnership through GM. We give out $10K to Genesee County businesses, minority owned for a portion of it. We have $100K that gives out our grants. And luckily in the past, before I took this job and I had my own business, I was a recipient of a $100K grant. So these grants are real and in the area. It's just a lot of people talk down on these. I never won it. I never get it. I am a product that it is there. You just have to take the time and be consistent. Also, we have traditional funding like PNC Bank, like Elga, like Huntington Bank. Those are your traditional business fundings, but we also have non-traditional, like Delano briefly mentioned, CDFIs. One of those is Metro Community Development there in the area. They give out business loans, startups, depending on what it is, they'll take you through the process, but sometimes it could be easier for a person that may be unbankable. And that's a conversation for a different day, but Delano for sure can talk about that also. Lastly, like I said, government contracting, that's through Apex. And then patents, like I said, Inventors Council, there's many more resources, but that's just a brief kind of scope of what we all can offer and much more.
And then real quick, we do have a question in the comments from Casey on Facebook. She asks, when is the Moving Flint Forward grant available and how to apply? And thank you, Casey, for asking that question. Make sure you register for today's event so you can get all the info and more. But let's see if we can get an answer to your question.
Yeah, I can get an answer. So we do it every year, normally beginning of the year. Okay, so we'll send out a information about that. Normally it's around beginning of the year. It closes every, I believe, April. Don't quote me just yet because we've been changing some things, but it did. We just did our last round, so they're still going through it. Text goes throughout the year because it's broken up in segments. So you get your first portion, you complete the task, then you do the second, complete the task. So it goes throughout the whole year, but it does open at the beginning of the year.
And I like how you expounded on, a lot of people hear about these opportunities but never see the fruits of it. And we just want to say thank you to Lynn King. Yeah, Lynn King, who's tuning in on Facebook. She said she's a product of being a recipient of one of those great awards that you mentioned as well. So things are happening right here in Flint. Even if you're someone like myself, I have 1,000 ideas. And you know what? I have 3 individuals right here that I connect with on this panel. If I wanted to make that idea happen and get that business kicked off, the perfect resources are available. So we're going to see if our panelists have anything else they want to add, maybe some important details, or maybe that one thing you wish someone would have told you before you started your success. Maybe we'll start with Delano.
This is what I say, especially for young adults. If you haven't established credit, you definitely want to start doing that now, and be responsible. That's the best thing that I can say. Start with a secure credit card, and from there, make sure you're making on-time payments. Don't over leverage yourself. Keep it simple until you actually get a real clear understanding on how your finances are working on a personal level. Just another general rule of thumb when it comes to personal finances. This is what I deal with primarily. You want to have at least 3 to 6 months of living expenses set aside for emergencies. So make sure you have those kind of things in order. I know that this workshop here is about business credit, but as we talked about earlier, personal credit is just as important. So you want to make sure that you have those things in order. And if I can give you anything, young people that haven't built their credit yet, start working on it. If you got a job, for that matter, you're earning some kind of income, make sure you have at least 3 to 6 months of living expenses set aside in case of emergencies, so you can still plan going forward. So if anything, that's what I'm gonna leave you with. And then from there, as it pertains to building up a business plan or having an idea and wanting to get it off the ground, definitely work with 100K ideas or go see Terrence at FGEA. That's what I would say.
Brandy, anything you want to add to that? Some last point, important information that maybe a viewer would need to hear?
Yeah, the biggest piece of advice is really it's never too early to start tracking and paying attention to your finances, especially when you're starting a business. I think sometimes you get so caught up in the rolling of it because you're like, oh, I got to execute, I got to provide my service, I got to make my product. And then you don't realize how much money it's taking to create your product or that you're giving to your service or the supplies and all of those pieces. But it's never too early to start doing that. Like the moment you start spending money on your business, you want to make sure you have account of that because that really sets you up for good success moving forward. And knowing that, hey, okay, I'm spending this. That means I need to make, I need to start bringing in this amount. And that way you can also start setting your realistic goals for your business. It doesn't always have to be, I'm going to make $100,000 my first year. Sometimes it's less than that and that's okay. But you want to at least kind of have some direction. You don't want to just keep rolling. The next thing you know, you're like, oh man, I am making no money. And that's never a good place to be in. So that's my biggest piece of advice is it's never too early to start tracking those things.
Go ahead, Terrence. I know you got something to share. I'm ready to write down some notes.
For me, I can say being consistent and being adaptable. A lot of times we hear consistency, but if we think it's just doing the same thing over and over and over, no, you need to be consistent, being adaptable, be able to adjust. You never know what can happen with business and life, so you have to be able to adjust for any circumstances. When it comes to your funding and things of that nature, you don't know what you're going to have to spend money on. So like saying, yes, save the money, but know that you're going to be able to be spent at some point for something to keep scaling your business. That's what I could say could be a top thing: be adjustable and be consistent and being adjustable.
And I would just add that it's just so important in business. I think, Brandy, you talked about, keeping track of finances. So often we encounter folks who have no idea how much their business is making or losing, how much they're making and how much, they're investing because they don't start that business account and keep those finances separate. And if you want to pay yourself out of that, that's perfectly fine. But to, commingle everything and not have a sense of what's going in and what's coming out is a huge challenge. And it's going to be a red flag in the pursuit of credit. And it's worth the investment to take a class in business accounting, and it doesn't have to be at a 4-year institution. I'm sure that, I know the SBA has offered some, classes on that topic. When we first started Communities First, we bought the cheapest version of QuickBooks that we could. I think we even had a free code for like a 6-month trial, and keeping all of those receipts and the invoices and, at least having it all available for when you are working with an accountant, but understanding your own finances and not solely relying on someone else to manage that for you is also another thing. And I think we can't overemphasize the connection between the personal and the business credit. And I would also say like the perceptions of someone wanting to start a business and believing that there are grant funds to pay for everything related to their business and that they are going to reap all of the benefit and not invest or not have to do the heavy lifting. It is not easy to be a business owner, but individuals like Delano and Brandy and Terrence and their respective organizations make it so much easier. So definitely connect with them. Even if you don't believe in a particular bank itself or a particular nonprofit or a particular agency, these 3 individuals are solid and they will lead you and guide you in the right way as best they can and be champions for you and for your business. And Terrence, you have an announcement that you want to share.
Yes, very quickly, just August 8th at Bauhaus, which is downtown Flint, Buckham Alley. You can also check our calendar at developflintgenesee.org. But we're going to be having a small business workshop, more so around money and mentoring, and then just about personal finances, things of the nature that we spoke about today, just kind of keeping that train going. So you can meet us at 5:30 to 7:30 at Bauhaus. Food and refreshments will be there available, and just kind of a good after hours networking after work.
And then I'm glad you shared that because this Thursday, August the 1st, at the Community Enrichment Center, we will be continuing in our community candor in person. This week's topic will be banking 101, of course, with our great sponsors and partners, PNC Bank. So make sure that if you're looking to learn more about personal financing, banking 101, we heard a lot of things covered today, but what I kept consistently hearing is that making sure that you have your personal business in order as well as your business affairs. So great way to get started on jump starting on that goal. We can see you this Thursday from 5 to 7 at the Community Enrichment Center. Food and snacks will be provided. So those are two great events coming up in the Flint and Genesee County area where you can learn more information, and we're looking forward to seeing some new business partners pop up in our neighborhood. I'm going to turn it back over to Essence.
So as we prepare to conclude our time together, we want to encourage you again to complete the survey and the link is in the chat, and we can also have it put on the screen. That helps us with tracking, just to know who we're working with, but also helping us to know what is needed next. So please fill that out. You'll be entered into a drawing for prizes, and you'll also receive the user guide for today's conversation and some additional resources. As a final wrap up, I just want to hear Delano, Brandy, and Terrence just give a quick 30-second encouragement, words of encouragement for business owners or those who want to start businesses. Think about the person who's had that idea for 30 years and has never acted on it. Think about the person who started a business and, their very first employee loved them quick and stole their idea, because we have heard so many stories of things that can go wrong. And sometimes we just need to be uplifted and encouraged. And so looking for those words from the three of you today. We'll start with Delano.
This is what I'll say, especially being young, because I'm 27. I thought that I had to be a millionaire by the time I was like 22, 23. Whether you believe it or not, a lot of people built their wealth later on down in life. And a lot of major companies were founded by people who were in their 50s. And these companies come to become Fortune 500 companies later on down the line. So don't think just because you're 35 or in your 40s, even in your 50s and 60s, that it's too late. It's never too late. Even if you feel like you ain't got your personal finances in order, or you feel like it's too late. I mean, average lifespan is about 76. I see people all the time live older than that. So it's never too late. Don't ever think that you ain't got no time to take care of those things. Or for that matter, get an idea off the ground, because we got resources around here that can help you with that.
So there is always time for your success. It's never too late to get started. And I would say it's never too early, because while you might not make $1 million at 24, you will be learning the life lessons that prepare you for your season of success. Brandy, what would you say to encourage business owners and aspiring business owners?
I would just say you got it. Like, you got this. I think it's so hard because it seems like you take 20 steps forward and get knocked 30 back. I get it. But honestly, you have it. You got it. Trust yourself. Trust your instincts. And don't be afraid to ask for help, because it's easy to think you're alone. You're not. As we keep saying, there's a lot of resources here. If it's not us, and we can find someone else that it can be, but you don't have to feel alone in this process. You got it. Just ask for help and keep moving forward.
Yeah, thank you for that. And I would say just go a step further. Instead of saying just don't be afraid to reach out and for help, make that your mindset to reach out and ask for help, because none of us knows everything. And people in business who are highly successful rely on the knowledge and expertise of others to coach them and support them, and to ensure that they have what they need in order to move forward. Terrence, what are your words of encouragement and success as a business owner doing something new and different in the downtown area?
So for me, I can say it's not easy. When I have a client that comes in on my end, I tell them straight, hey, it's not going to be easy, but it is accomplishable. We can do it. We put the work in. So I tell them, your vision is your vision. It's going to be hard because nobody else can see it, but it doesn't mean it's not accomplishable. So I'm going to be here along the steps away. And one thing that I always love, that quote, I think it was Chris Rock or somebody, I can't remember exactly, but if you're on the side of the road in your car and you're just sitting there, your car's broke down and nobody's helping you, but once you get out and start pushing it along, people get out and start to help you, because they have to see you. We can't believe more in your business than you believe in your business. We can't help you more than you want to help yourself. So that's all I can say about that.
Absolutely. It is perfectly fine to want to share the burden with others when it comes to moving a business forward. But if you're not lifting, nobody else is going to be there to help you. And I'll have to look that up and see if that's a Chris Rock quote. I haven't heard it put quite that way. But then I laugh because, immediately the red flags go up. Chris Rock has said a lot of things. I didn't know which thing you were going to say, but very good. So I'm hearing get out and push, and others will come alongside you and help. Well, today has been fantastic. I've learned something. Certainly have acquired a new resource in Delano. I don't think we've had an opportunity to meet. There's great work being done in this community. There are great businesses, some of which are operating, some are still being conceptualized, and they rest in people's heads. Well, if they're in your head and they're in your heart, let's bring those things to fruition. Contact Terrence, contact Brandy, contact Delano. You can contact us if you can't remember their names. We are here to help. We are here to support, and we want to see you and your business thrive. Thank you for filling out the survey. Thank you for being with us, and a special thank you to our panelists. We appreciate you, and it does take a team. People say teamwork makes the dream work. We have to come up with something new, but it is still true. So let's make the dream work. All right. Thanks, everybody.